I'm here with Sid, who graduated back in 2022 from HWA, been out working now for about 2 years. Sid and I are going to discuss why he attended Heartland Welding Academy and what he's been doing since he left HWA. Sid,
Hey, Chuck.
this is really odd.
It's all right. Make the most of it.
Well, so let's just have a general conversation. So before you came here, you were working in the safety field, right?
Yeah, I did safety and rescue for about 3 years consistently.
That's right, that's where you met Cassie.
And then I left that and I went to Wyoming for about 3 months and did a wilderness rescue course. Came back and did a few more safety jobs, got a job here in Wichita, and then stumbled upon you guys.
Yeah, how did you come about an interest in welding, primarily pipe welding?
Growing up on the ranch, like if something needed fixed, pipe fence is what we have. Something broke on the tractor, it was a matter of getting the welder and giving it your best shot.
Did you run into any of that out while you were working in the safety-related roles?
A little bit.
Okay.
But that's, I guess, really where I got interested in welding at, was watching all these guys up in the pipe rack and the fab shops, mostly TIG welding. It was just, I've stick welded at home, but TIG welding was just something so foreign to me and just mesmerizing. Just sitting there and watching them walk the cup, and all of a sudden you have a beautiful bead left over.
So you come out of the industry, right? And I remember when we met you, you were kind of managing a youth camp.
Mm-hmm.
You stumble across us, you come to HWA, you were here 6 months?
Yeah.
Night course, right?
Yep.
So let me ask you something. So while you were at Heartland Welding Academy, I mean, what do you think, if you were to pick out a few topics of notoriety, what are a couple of things that you would take away or that you would share with somebody about Heartland?
It's very family oriented. I mean, you guys genuinely cared about us. It wasn't like we were just another student walking in and out. You cared about what we were doing at home and our home life and what made us tick, what made us want to be here, why we were interested in the welding field. So it's just a very welcoming school. I mean, you guys were just wonderful to us. Something else that really stuck out is I felt like there was a good community of students. There was 5 or 6 of us students that we'd all go and get tacos at lunch rather than everybody just sit in their cars. So and that goes back to the family. Like,
there's a group of you that would go somewhere after class too, if I recall.
Yeah, on Friday nights only though. I mean, the school was in close proximity to them, so we couldn't pass it up.
Well, so appreciate that, great compliment. So you get done with the program. I remember if I recall, did you go with your brother down south and work a little bit?
Yeah, so we worked on a cotton gin down in Searcy, Arkansas for about 2 months. And they were doing a lot of chill ring flanges, so they're doing 6010, 7018, which I was familiar with. And so I did a little bit of welding on it, but they used chill rings instead of open roots due to the nature of the hydraulic lines. So taking what I learned from here was just phenomenal. It was easy to kind of pick up and be right in the flow of things from what I learned here. We worked about, never mind, I forgot.
You were down in Arkansas. I remember staying engaged with you. Obviously one of our big pushes is stay engaged with students, and if opportunities arise, we definitely want to put that in front of you. So we have an opportunity come about. I think that opportunity was down in New Mexico.
Yeah, I left Arkansas, came up to El Dorado or back to Kansas home base, and had a conversation, and they needed me in New Mexico within 7 days. So I had 6 days to sag my compare wells at home and load up and went down to New Mexico for about 6 months.
You were down there for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And since then, I remember you coming back. You've been working with a contractor here in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
Now that particular, you're stationed here in Kansas, but that contractor's actually out of Washington State, right?
Correct.
Okay. Now, is their specialty?
They focus on bridge repair. Rather than, when a bridge gets hit or something and there's some damage to it, rather than take down the bridge and build a new one, we come in there and we try to heat straighten the bridge, the webbing and the beams, so that it can be used, there's a quick turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
We're shutting down the highway for anywhere from 3 nights to maybe 2 weeks. And then people can still drive over the bridge on top and drive underneath. We're not shutting down the interstate for months trying to.
Is that work here local in Kansas, or are you all over the place?
All over the place. It's taken me from my actual job interview with them. I made some phone calls. They flew me to North Carolina for an impromptu job interview. And I was out there for 3 nights. Drove in the truck with them up to Boston, Massachusetts. Was there for another 2 nights. And they flew me back home and said, "You're hired." Craziest job interview I've ever had.
And company truck, you travel everywhere.
Yeah, I don't have a company truck. We have a work truck. It stays in Kansas City in the salt mines.
Okay.
But otherwise, they cover my travel, my expenses and my travel to get to the job site. And then I get a per diem that covers. I'm responsible for my lodging, my own food, any snacks or anything, and they just they provide transportation to and from the job site.
What other perks about the job can you tell us about?
I could fill the next hour, fill it with just perks of the business.
You're salaried, right?
I am salaried.
Yeah.
So that's very nice that being salaried, and I'm just had a baby here recently, so I'm able to stay at home.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm able to stay at home, but still collect a paycheck from them. And then because I've come through Heartland Welding Academy, I want to pursue more welding, and so I'm able to work with my brother and work on some small projects around that ranch and the house, and find other little work around. It's great with them. I can also, they pay for my health insurance. They have full benefits, 401k and everything, but they take us on company vacations. So they say. I haven't been on one yet.
Okay, so Sid, if you were, great story. I mean, testament of what we're trying to do here. If you were to give anybody some advice about what you know from the industry now, you've been out there for 2 years, from where you started on day one of choosing a welding school, what would be your advice?
There's a lot of schools out there, and they all preach different things. Some schools you're just there to weld. Other schools are more of like a fitting school, where you learn more of the technical aspects of preparing the pipe and getting it ready to go. Heartland has a great medium of all of it. You have to prepare your own work. Starting out, you use just plate to practice welding beads, but then you have to assemble your T-joints as you're starting to fill in the fillet welds. We had to cut our own pipe and bevel that. So when I went to New Mexico to go work, I was already familiar with how to use a pipe beveling machine. I was prepared to use a cutoff wheel and cut pipe and hand bevel. That's something that a lot of schools don't work with. They have everything ready to go for you. The interaction from the instructors to the students, I felt like if I ever had a question, I could always go to an instructor and they would have the answer. And if not, then they'd get back with me the next day after they talked to the day shift instructors, and it was always responsive. I always felt like if I had a question, I could ask it, and if they didn't know, they would tell me they didn't know, and not just they wouldn't just blow smoke, excuse me.
It's okay. We'll cut that part out.
I hope you do. Actually, I hope you don't.
So great feedback. What would be your advice to someone that is in school? So let's say you choose a school, whether it's Heartland or some other school. If you were giving advice to the industry, to a young man, young woman going into the industry, what kind of advice would you give them, no matter the school they choose?
Yeah, I was actually just talking to a young gentleman earlier today in the weld shop. Humility, I think, is the biggest thing that a lot of people don't have. You're in school to weld. You're making the time to go to school to learn how to weld. Take advantage of that, because you're not going to get somewhere else that's just going to let you burn rod after rod after rod. That's the biggest advice for in school and outside of school is humility. Be humble with, yes, I'm fresh out of school. I may not know everything, but I have a good idea. But I would love it if somebody helped further my education, helped you grow.
Yeah, good advice. I'm a huge proponent even people starting out as welders helpers for that very reason
Yeah.
is, I mean, we all want to be a great welder when we leave school. And by and large, a lot of us do. But there is a lot of respect, and humility is a good word to use. There's a lot of lessons just in that, not to mention the lessons that you're learning from an elder that's been out there in the industry for the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, they want nothing more than to see you succeed.
Right.
Because I'm not saying it's a dying breed or a dying generation, but the people that have been in this industry for a long time with all this wealth of knowledge, they're getting ready to leave and go enjoy their time at home. And they just want somebody to be interested in what they have to say and learn all of these trade secrets.
I've got a question, just more of a talking point, but one of the things that I think is unique is by and large, a lot of our students that leave, male or female, they've never traveled before. That was really intimidating to me whenever I went out the first time. I mean, did you got any stories or anything you can share about your times traveling?
You know, I've always enjoyed traveling because I want to see the world. But I actually went to New Mexico with the guy that graduated from here, and that was his first time really away from home. And he had a blast down there because he went with somebody that he knew and trusted, and we enjoyed each other's company.
Mm-hmm.
So going out on a job by yourself, it's definitely intimidating, and sometimes you just gotta walk in and say, I'm the new guy.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell me? Like, I'm here to learn.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. There's no such thing as a dumb question, and if somebody says there is, you don't need that person in your life. You don't need interaction with them. But if you can travel with somebody, I think that's the best way to do it.
Well, and it kind of helps spread the gap too. So you've got somebody to have, conversation with, maybe go get a bite to eat on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
So having a comfortable, friendly face, it also helps spread the gap. So, well, hey, thanks for doing this.
Yep,
I
absolutely.
appreciate it.